everyone. I'm Sam McKenna. I'm the CEO of #SamSales, and I know how to prospect without looking like an asshole.
Hey there, I'm Todd Caponi, and I know positioning that'll help you stop talking to the wrong people.
I'm Tyler Lassard, and I know how to win end-of-quarter deals without discounting.
Ooh, this all sounds like it requires a whole lot of trust and transparency. I'm Raj Nation. I'm going to help you sort through all of this. Grab a couple extra plates because we brought our friends along for a special edition of Full Fun. Hey everyone, I'm Raj Nation. Welcome back to Full Funnel, Sales Feed's weekly show nominated for a Golden Globe in the new category of Best Show, co-hosted by a Canadian and an American, but the American is the type of American who often gets asked, what country are you really from? Full Funnel is Sales Feed's exclusive show. Make sure you hit subscribe below before you go any further. And today, we've got a special roundtable edition where we're talking about how to bring trust and transparency into your sales process. Let's go ahead and meet our experts. First, we've got the sales extraordinaire, founder and CEO of #SamSales. Say hi, Sam.
Hi, Raj. How's it going?
And then we've got the godfather of transparency, author of the Transparency Sale, and the president of Sales Melon, Todd Caponi. Say hi, Todd.
Hi, Todd.
And then there's Tyler Lassard. You know him from my regular episodes here on Full Funnel. He's best known for his looks, not his brains, and often is telling people, hey, eyes up here. Say hi, Tyler.
Hi, everybody!
And I'm your roundtable host. Let's dish. Top Funnel. Now, there's an email sitting in my inbox this very moment that says, hey, our CEO has been admiring the HR practices at Startup Hype Man for a while now and asked that I get in touch. We found some of the best ways to solve hybrid remote work challenges by using both policy, culture, and tools to solve this with clients like DHL, Panasonic, and Aetna who have optimized hybrid remote culture. Do you have time to chat next week before 4 p.m.? Sam, why do I not even feel like replying to this at all?
Sweet Jesus, where do we even begin? First of all, I didn't know that you guys were the size of Aetna. Congratulations, Raj. That's such incredible news. Also, how incredible that the CEO has admired your HR practices, which they know nothing about, and couldn't get off her lazy ass to reach out to you instead, but she sent one of her minions to reach out to you. What a terrible trick that people use. And they scam, and I'm sure there's another email below that from the CEO that's like, hey, Bill, reach out to Raj. I love this email. Love what he's doing. Love the HR practices, right? To make it look authentic. Gross. Yeah. Hard pass.
So those are some of the key issues with that email. Todd, if you were going to talk to that rep, what would you say to get them to write maybe a more trustworthy email or an email that builds some trust?
I believe it starts with clinical empathy. And what I mean by that is my last role, I was a CRO. I got 100 to 150 emails per day. I was in 30 to 35 meetings per week. I looked at email like an instant lottery scratch-off ticket, right? Like, you gotta check it because there might be a winner in there, but odds are it's probably a loser. I had to check it. But what did I do? I want you to think about, as a rep, clinical levels of empathy for the people that you're prospecting to. Because I think there's a huge opportunity to stand out like a beacon in the night. If you're selling to salespeople, you probably have salespeople in your office you can ask. Ask them, can I look at your inbox for a minute and just see which ones jump out at you? What are you concentrating on? What are you thinking about? If you're selling to marketing, you probably have a marketer. If you're selling to finance, you probably have a finance person. Go grab them, pull them into a sales meeting, and get to clinical levels of empathy where your reps, your team, you as the individual rep sending that crap can see the world through the eyes of the individuals you're sending to. And I'm telling you, just that simple little trick is going to change a lot of your perspective around what to send.
Sam, back to you for a moment. When you hear those words, clinical empathy, are there any specific phrases or even just research methods before you can send the email that would help someone get to that?
One, I immediately feel out of my league. Listen to Todd, clinical empathy, so smart. Here's the thing, though. He's exactly right. I know. He's paying me to say that. He's so right, though. Think of all the garbage that is in your inbox on a daily basis, especially if you're reaching out to anybody that's a CRO role, C-suite role, whatever. This is why we always talk about thinking about show me, you know me. Think about how to stand out. Pull something personal about that person. Pull something out about their company. Pull something out of a quote they were recently on, like a podcast just like this. Find a way to stand out.
Tyler, is there something in your inbox that you've been on the receiving end of where you've said, yeah, I not only am responding, but I actually am excited to respond to this?
I think it's those that are also a little bit genuine and come across as almost a peer of mine, like somebody who actually wants to help me out. But showing me right up front, hey, I know a little bit about you, I've done some homework, creates that sense of trust. Saying that I think I can help you in these areas, not I helped this company do 200% increase in ABC. I'm like, forget that garbage. Talk to me like a real person and let's have a genuine conversation. And those are the people that I actually find I'm most interested in having a conversation with, because I don't feel like I'm going to be sold to. I feel like I'm going to be helped.
The most successful email I've ever sent was personalizing it to their specific comment on someone else's post on LinkedIn. They responded to my email within 10 minutes, screenshotted it, put it on LinkedIn themselves and said, this email was very effective. And I'm meeting with this person tomorrow morning. So everything y'all are saying, right on point. I've personally experienced being able to reach that, at least in one point in my life. It's hard to do on a repeatable basis, but if you imbibe these lessons day in and day out, you're able to do it more and more over and over again. Big fun. Now, how you position and message your product is arguably as important, if not more important, than the product itself. And it's one thing to have some catchy copy on your website or in an advertisement. It's a whole nother thing to be able to talk to the person on the other end of the call in a specific way that's going to make your deal move forward. Now, Todd, you know a lot about messaging and positioning. What can we do in those one-to-one interactions to develop more trust and transparency and advance a deal?
Well, I believe first it comes from your mindset and remembering we don't buy when we're convinced, or if we do, we're probably not happy about it for long. We buy when we can predict. Combine that with every interaction, you're either building trust or eroding it. You're not staying the same. There's a reason why you read negative reviews when a website's acting as a salesperson, right? When you're buying online, the exact same thing happens in human-to-human or B2B selling. There's an opportunity to help a buyer predict by knowing subconsciously that they know perfection doesn't exist, and by helping them predict by telling them, hey, this is what we give up to be great at our core. This is what you might not like. This is what you're going to love. And get to that answer for them as quickly as possible, whether it's with you or with a competitor.
Sam, messaging and positioning, what are some things that you have seen where a seller will typically try and almost do the opposite of what Todd said and just like play up the great all the time? And what sort of happens in those interactions in your experience?
Well, let's even think about how we position our product and what we do in our initial outreach, right? I think every email that we have from a sales perspective is at a 30,000 foot view. We can help Sam sales increase pipeline, close your deals faster, and for 18% more. I have no idea what it is that you do. What is your product? So we need to be super specific. The whole idea of messaging is not to sell the person, it's to bait them into a conversation. Here's one challenge you have and one thing that I can do to solve it. Let me make sure to articulate that correctly for your level, right, as a C-suite or a manager or whatever, and then get that over the line. The other thing where I think we fail with messaging is not thinking about what I call the hidden or the forthcoming objection. So pulling from Todd's word of predict, we need to predict what the next thing is that someone's going to say. For instance, if someone emails me and says, we can help you with the SEO, the first thing I'm going to think of is we already have a shop for that. They need to anticipate that I'm going to say that, and they need to be specific and tangible about here's what you're probably not getting. Here's what I'm able to see that you're not getting based on what I see on your website. Here's a specific way of how we can help, to give me that kind of FUD, right? That fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and say, that sounds great in theory, and we're not getting that. Let me explore this more. Because if you just say I can help you with SEO, I'm like, got it. Bye.
Now, Tyler, on the marketing side, you know, marketing's job is to build the hype, is to make this grandiose and amazing. How do you feel marketers can even apply this lesson of trust and transparency to still make it sound awesome, but maybe even sound more real?
Well, I think it's a great point, because I think marketers often get pulled into trying to tell really big, bold stories that just come across, frankly, as just untrustworthy in many cases, as not really being the reality for most companies. Look, everybody has helped one of their customers have a massive ROI. And I actually love to talk about like those moments and make it about the people that we helped and the progress they made as individuals, not always talking about the 200% ROI. And I think as a sales rep, those are actually some things you can do as well, because those become more trustworthy anecdotes. As opposed to saying, I helped startup hype man triple their revenue in 6 months. Go to your prospect and say, hey, check this guy out, Raj Nation. Great guy, similar role to you. I've been working with him over the last year, And a couple months ago, he had this one big problem, and we helped him solve that within a couple of weeks so that he could move on to the next thing he had to get done, right? That starts to sound a little bit interesting and relatable to me as a prospect. And now I can start to build on that and say, hey, I would love to tell you the other 5 things that we've done with him to help him achieve a really important result. That becomes more trustworthy. That feels a little bit more transparent. And those kinds of stories as a marketer or a seller can really hit home when you try to connect with people on a real level.
Bottom fun. All right, crew, we're hitting the end of the quarter, which means 2 things. Sales managers pressuring their reps to get deals in before the quarter ends, and that, as a result, sales reps giving out discounts like candy on Halloween. Now, as the buyer, I know I can be a wallflower and just wait for Cinderella to turn into a pumpkin at midnight and offer me a discount before that happens. But on the selling side, how do you avoid playing the dance of the discount disco? Todd, I'll let you take lead on this one.
Negotiation's broken, right? Like, why do we need a different personality to negotiate than we do to sell? Why are we learning negotiation techniques from former FBI hostage negotiators? I love his book, don't get me wrong, but we're not negotiating the release of hostages from a bank heist. And we don't get to tase the person after the negotiation's over and drag them to jail. In the face! We're eroding trust at the goal line and giving away discounts in the form of charity to the customer's bottom line. If we're dealing with that right now, end of quarter, and worried about the issue of buyers that are feeling like, if I wait, I can get a little bit more, that ship sailed a long time ago. There's a tremendous opportunity for us to set a better foundation by playing your cards face up at the beginning of a negotiation, so that the buyer is actually able to negotiate their own deal. And then in terms of timing at the goal line, with mutual alignment around that timing, where maybe a customer's incentivized to help you with your forecasting, you can get out of that game of the hockey stick end of quarters and spend a New Year's Eve or the last night of a quarter until midnight, hoping that your deal shows up in your email.
Sam, what's your take on negotiating and being able to be more trustworthy in this process and less discounty?
Couple of things I would say. One, for our sales leaders, don't forget that their comp plans are what motivate your sales reps. So if you are pushing them to discount, and they're not going to get full quota credit for that quarterly deal, they're probably going to let it bleed until the next quarter so they don't have to discount. I think the other thing is we lose our negotiating power when we tie it to artificial things without logic, just like the end of the quarter. We'll give you this deal if you sign by March 31st. I think towards the end of the year, we can start to put logic around why we're getting things signed early and why we might give a little bit of a discount if they sign by a particular date. And that's to lessen the burden that we put on our internal legal team as well as the client's internal legal team. I always like to think about it of you as the customer have the opportunity to pull levers to get discounts. We offer discounts on a few things: speed of the deal, the number of seats that you buy, the tenure that you buy for, things like that. That's what we're really looking for. So you tell us what you want, we can pull the levers, and then we'll give you what that price looks like based on what you have told us you want from us. Now, speed of the deal, some people always raise their eyebrows like, why would I, get a bigger discount if I move faster with the deal? Because my rep can then move on to the next deal, right? So the less time that they have to spend nurturing and following and chasing and on meetings and procurement, the less time we've got to do that, the better I'll give you a discount because I want them to move on to the next deal. I want to onboard you, right? And I think when we sometimes have honest conversations about that, instead of hiding and kind of playing this little dance, we're better off and there's transparency there.
Tyler, as the buyer, I want to know, are you sitting there oh, I can tell this rep is going to squirm in the next 2 weeks? What's going on the buying side?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it depends on the market you're in, but it's usually no secret that sales reps are quarterly operated and that there could be benefits to you, trying to squeeze at the end of a quarter. I think the most important thing from my perspective is understanding if I were to ask for a discount as a sales rep, don't be shy to ask me, well, why is that? Why are you looking for a discount? Help me understand your current situation. I'll be transparent on my side. You know what? I simply don't have the budget to be able to put it at that level at this time. Then you can say, well, will you have the budget next quarter? Or now you can get into a productive conversation as opposed to haggling over something. So don't be shy to ask why this is coming up, how it is that you can get to the root of the challenge and ultimately solve it, again, as peers, as a collaborative conversation, as opposed to as Todd put it very kindly, a hostage negotiation.
Our funnel is full, so let's recap. This was the transparency episode, and in Top Funnel, we talked about prospecting. It's all about, as Todd said, clinical empathy.
In mid-funnel, we talked about messaging and how to be transparent in both your strengths and weaknesses as a solution to earn their trust.
Bottom funnel was all about how to do the discount dance. It's a negotiation. Be yourself, and also know if you're going to give away some cost, they've got to give you something in return. Our funnel is full. We hope you can get back out there now and fill up yours. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe before you head out of here. He's Tyler Lessard, and guess what? These were our friends, Sam and Todd. They're still our friends after this, but they were definitely our friends for this show. Sam and Todd, be sure you follow their stuff online as well. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Todd, for joining us on the special roundtable edition of Full Funnel. I am Raj Nation. We will catch you next week. But in the meantime, remember, please keep your hands and legs inside the vehicle at all times.